are streaming. All right. So
Yeah.
James Gunn recently released what he was gonna do for his like next phase or whatever of DC,
Yeah.
which really fucky, just really weird, right?
In what sense?
So he plans to have basically a new universe, fine, right?
Hmm.
And then the other movies like the Joker and all the good ones like uh Black Adam and the Batman, those are gonna
Yeah.
be Elseworlds, right? Basically just stories that don't really matter but they're cool.
So
And
like
then
what ifs almost.
yeah, so
Mm.
we're getting Superman Legacy, right?
Okay.
Minimal, not that bad, Henry Cavill's not here, but it's not that
Very
crazy.
unfortunate. Literally,
Yeah.
Superman himself, the actor, but whatever.
You feel me?
Yeah.
We're getting
Supergirl,
a Supergirl movie.
which nobody asked for, by the way.
But
Nobody
whatever.
asked for.
This is the part where it gets fucky. So we're getting Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Oh
Right?
wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The Brave and the Bold? Like, wait, what do you mean by that?
So
Like the
it's a
show?
storyline. No, not like the show, but it's a storyline, The Brave and the Bold. But this story isn't centered around Batman. It's centered around Damian Wayne being a little shit.
But wait, but okay, but like which? So Brave and the Bold, the comic books,
Yeah.
right? Because not that has nothing to do with the show. Because the show is literally
No,
just
no, no,
Batman.
no, 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 no.
It's Batman and friends, like
No, honestly, if they did Batman and Friends, it would be kind of funny, but no.
with
It's
Damien. Yeah,
just Damian. He said it's Batman's there, but it's focused on Damian.
but why even
Mm.
call it the Brave and the Bold? I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like I feel
That's the
like
comic book that it was from.
Was
When
that
Damian's
storyline like
introduced.
very Damien focused?
I guess that's
But
what I was reading. Yeah.
I feel like with a Damien movie, you almost want to have him have his own movie just because he's so starkly different to Batman,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like he's basically just like he's a parody of basically every Batman meme ever, where people are just kind of like, "Oh, you're not gonna kill me," you know what I mean?
hmm
So
Do you think he needs setup though? Like, can he just be raw
Damien,
dogged
no,
I
into?
mean, that's
Damien,
where it feels weird because they're just gonna like ram. He's here,
Damien,
and this is his story. You
Damien
know?
does not need setup. Damien does not need setup, and the reason why is because he's an extremely colorful character in the sense that homie, literally, the moment he's there, you feel his presence. There's nothing monotone about Damien, right? Like, you don't need setup. He rolls up, he starts giving out of pocket menace opinions, right? And then you go from there. It can be a really fun movie. And you can make this a really good movie, but it depends because Damien doesn't necessarily have a rose gallery. His rose gallery, like I think every Batman side character or whatever kind of suffers from this, from like the Bat family, where their rogue gallery is an extension of Batman rogues gallery. They never have their own, right? So with Damien, it's gonna be mostly about him just kind of growing up and being less of a bitch. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
about it.
but the thing is, if we jump straight to Damien, right? That means we've
Yeah.
already had Jason, we've already had Richard, we already got a Batgirl, we already have Oracle in the wheelchair. All this crazy shit. Oh shit, we've
Not
already gotten all that crazy
necessarily,
shit.
but is this just these movies? Are they gonna follow a thread? Is it gonna be a continuity, or
This
is this
is a
gonna
new
be
continuity.
right? But is it gonna be a consistent continuity?
Is it gonna be like a one-off movie? I think is a
No, no,
good
no,
question.
no, no. So these movies are all connected, right? And they're also connected with other animated shows. Like before this comes, like to an animated show, then there's a show and other stuff like that. So, right, this Batman, completely original Batman, connected to this Superman and this Supergirl, all
So they're
connected.
redoing. Okay. Question. Okay, so the Batman and basically the subsequent movies that are gonna be coming out. That's gonna be its own what if, right? That's completely separate
No,
to
no,
what we're
no,
gonna
no,
have.
no. Oh, you mean
No,
the Batman? Yeah, yeah.
that Batman, yeah, the Batman
The
with with
the
with,
Batman and Joker.
with my boy Edward the Glow Stick, right?
Yep.
So that version is gonna be its own. You know what? I'm kind of okay with that because I felt like if you gave something like the Joker movie, which is amazing on its own, even though I wanted it to be technically part of the continuity, if you give it to certain directors, I don't think it would work out. I think you're a very specific type of writer for that. So I'm kind of okay with that what if scenario. Now the continuity and these type of movies right here, I mean it could work. I'm kind of happy because at least they're gonna follow a continuity. It always bothered me when good movies like the Joker itself, like it was. Oh no, it doesn't count as a part of the DCU. I'm like, it always pissed me off. Because the thing about my boy John, you guys gotta understand is every single time I'm like, yo, this movie's amazing, this, that, and the third.
Doesn't count.
You know,
Sorry.
I'm like the Christopher Nolan movies. You know what I'm saying? All this amazing stuff. John's like, doesn't count. And it's just, bro, it drove me crazy. Because I'm like, what does you mean doesn't count? It's a Batman movie, but it's like not part of this. So I'm like,
Look,
if
look,
you're
look, because we were arguing Marvel versus DC bar for bar. You want to bring out the Nolan verse? That's a different movie verse entirely. You feel me?
Bruh.
So we got 3 movies.
but you understand how that's
No,
fucking
I
bullshit,
understand. Right? I understand. I'm not defending it at all. I'm just saying, you know, if we're gonna talk, we're gonna talk. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but I feel like we're just fucking picking. We're basically just fucking picking at straws at this point. Who cares? Who cares? Like it's a Batman movie. It's a DC movie. That's what I think, right? If I see Superman, I see DC. If I see Batman, I see DC. Why the fuck do I gotta go? No, it's this director specific movie. Fuck you. How about that?
I ain't giving nobody their flowers. Nobody their flowers.
You know what? You know
main continuity,
bro. But like, why though? What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? I want to win.
First of all, oh, you want to win? No matter what you look at, Marvel's winning.
100%.
Even with the garbage ass Phase 4 movies, which most of them were, the fact that Wakanda, I was about to say Wakanda Forever. No, the fact that Wakanda Forever was as good as it was kind of made it up for me. You feel me? I was like, yes, amazing. I'm so hyped. I loved it. It was amazing. And then now, is it amazing enough to offset Thor and Doctor Strange? I don't think so.
Definitely
But if we look at it from an overall standpoint, okay, yes. But if we look at it from an individual standpoint, bar for bar, movie for movie, who came out in 2022 with the best movie? DC, Marvel. Wakanda Forever stomps every other movie DC had.
Yeah.
With the exception of Black Adam, which was not well received, but it should have been. I'll say it.
Black Adam was a box office flop according to everybody else.
Bro, people hated Black Adam for some fucking. It was good.
Bro, John Lewis and I came out of that movie theater. We spent like 3 hours gawking over how amazing it was, how proud we were. The moment we went online, it was nothing but hate. Everybody put out the fucking pitchforks, bro.
My God,
bro,
Rock.
I was ready to cry when I knew that we were the only 3 people alive that enjoyed that movie.
It was crazy.
We saw a completely different movie than everybody else because everybody that saw this movie was just us, right? Everybody else saw something else. They saw a Chipindongo ass movie, dude.
What if you know what, John? Now that I think about it, what if the trauma?
This is the movie they saw.
John, what if the trauma from so many horrible DC movies made us watch a good movie, but we weren't actually watching that? We just all connected our brains and we were watching the movie.
A joint hallucination, bro.
Hardcore schizophrenia.
Straight up.
Like we had a multiplayer.
We had a net connection, key blast connection, fucking like I don't know what the hell Super Saiyan 8. All right, it was some craziness going on because I can't fathom how so many people can be against this movie, and we're the only 3 motherfuckers that were like, nah, that was like a 9 out of 10.
Bro, look, no joke, we were in that IHOP. That IHOP for like an hour just sucking Black Adam's dick.
Okay, I mean, see now, pause. Right? So let's go
back. We were nonstop talking about how
amazing
this movie was.
Nope, yeah, you know what?
You liked it more than I did. I'm just putting that up.
Okay. You know what? Let's not talk about the flavors of the Rock's penis. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. Listen, here's the thing. I felt like the movie was really good. It didn't drag at any points. I felt like the pacing was really good. I felt like the characters were interesting. I didn't feel like any other characters were a waste. They had some jokes here or there, but the serious scenes were taken seriously. The Rock did a great job. I mean, you can't expect The Rock to play anybody but himself in movies, but this role itself fits him, right?
Yeah.
The only parts that I could see people being like, oh, I didn't like it too much was the storyline with the kid and the mom and like the conduct storyline separate from Black Adam. But even then, I didn't feel like it was weak. I felt like it was there and it served its purpose.
It didn't overstay its welcome either. It wasn't like every 5 seconds we were panning over there. No, it was when there was like a lull in the actual like Black Adam story. We went there.
Agreed. And you know, another thing that was really amazing about the movie is it actually stayed consistent feet-wise with comic book Black Adam. When you saw him actually go the speed of light, it felt that way. When you saw him flying, like he was flying, he fell and he landed in a continent. That's how it fucking should be.
You know what else I liked? I like that he speed blitzed like half of the people he had to fight.
Yeah, because that's how it should be.
As he should.
That's how it should be. And another thing too is he doesn't know what doors are. I like that too. He just fucking goes right through them.
I like his blatant disrespect for just regular shit that's in people's lives. They're like, dude, did you not have doors? He's like, yes. How do you think you get in and out of buildings? Proceeds to walk outside through a wall. Like, homie was...
It made perfect. Yeah, it made perfect sense. And like, honestly, I just felt like it was overall a really good movie. Like the people that have been hating on it, like if you guys are watching this, please do let me know what your gripes with the movies were, because every single time I see anybody hating on it, it was mid, garbage, box office flop, and then I'm like, why? And then nobody ever answers. Nobody ever actually has points. I would like to hear some points, because realistically, it just feels like people are hating it just because DC. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, DC, you're used to DC just having garbage.
Mm-hmm. No,
That's
but
what
they
it
love
feels
We
Suicide Squad
watched the
too.
movie like a week after watching Thor Ragnarok, right?
Yes, we watched Thor
And
Ragnarok.
bro, coming off the tail of Thor Ragnarok, it was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, because we came
Because
out of
that movie did not take itself seriously for 1 second.
whatsoever. Like, that's a movie that literally got entirely fucked by jokes. The fact that there were so many jokes ruined it.
It felt like you
There
were
were
just constantly watching bloopers.
The pacing was awful.
exactly.
The pacing was awful. I mean, it literally. I remember at one point we were around 30 minutes into the movie. It felt like an hour to me, because every fucking minute you had to fucking squeeze a joke in there. So it felt like narratively it never went anywhere, right? So
It was less time without a joke than time with a joke.
exactly. I remember I was counting them. I had to stop counting. It's ridiculous. And you know what? I don't even think Christian Bale did a bad goal. I think he did a good job. I just feel like the actors were basically harmed by the script itself, right? The script itself really hurt them, because having to say these quips 24/7. Gore is a very serious comic villain, right? There are little to no quips to be had. Gore the God Butcher. He's just supposed to be a really badass villain with a tragic backstory that you can somewhat relate to, right? He's not trying to do things just for the sake of. But the way that the movie approached it, you can't have jokes 24/7 and then throw Gore in there and expect me to just switch like at the drop of a dime and just be like, oh yeah, no, we're serious now. It's like, no. Even Gore had jokes. I don't like that. Why is
He
Gore
had like
joking?
one joke.
Yeah,
Too many.
and it was kind of dark too.
I think we made the really good point while we were watching the movie that if you cut out like just half of the time that it took to make the jokes, you could have dedicated 20, 25 more minutes to the to Gore's backstory, and it would have made the story better.
Yeah, and that's what's also sad, because like when Gore was on screen, that was actually the only enjoyable parts of the movie, right? But he was only on screen for like 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah, he was rarely on screen. And it's like, so what was there to like about that movie? I mean, I could say the CGI was good. I could say the fights were good, but that's expected. We expect that out of Marvel movies. It's really rare, unless you're watching Black Widow. It's really rare to just have like a really good, like a really bad Marvel fight scene. They're usually amazing, right? So that's expected. We expect that. Same thing with Demon Slayer. A lot of people hate on Demon Slayer because they're like, oh my God, it's only animation. So if Demon Slayer ever has bad animation, it's just expected out of it, right? You expect that level of high quality. So here's the thing. With Marvel, you expect that level of high quality. So what comes after that? Personally, I don't really care if the fight scenes are mid, as long as the story is amazing. I feel like the story is the most important thing. Marvel generally has really good soundtrack as well, especially the Thor movies. They usually go with like AC/DC or something similar.
What's it called? Black Panther had an amazing soundtrack.
Oh, dude, Black Panther had some of the best. Black Panther had some of the best. Like 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 had amazing ones too. Recently, I saw a real Instagram talking about like, oh, like it was something similar, like, oh, you're like, it's 2018, just finished watching Black Panther, and it started playing like the post-credit scene song, and I was like, this shit bangs, bro. It was like the Kendrick Lamar and Rihanna one. It was amazing. But generally, they do a really good job with the fight scenes and the soundtrack. All there is, and realistically, all you need after that is a plot. But generally, Marvel tends to follow a formula, right? They follow that formula, and it was very successful with seeing Infinity War and so on. So when you saw that formula, it's like quips here or there, different characters interacting, which is really amazing. And it's never been complex. Marvel movies are almost never complex, right? But it was a formula and it worked. But I feel like at this point, the formula is somewhat outdated. And I feel like they're kind of just trying to focus on certain parts of the formula and just tuning that up to 1,000. Perfect example is Thor Ragnarok. Not a Ragnarok. Ragnarok was actually pretty good in my opinion. But what's this movie called? I completely forgot.
Love and Thunder?
Yeah, Love and Thunder. I completely erased it from my memory because
Mm-hmm.
everybody who watched it should, right? But that movie focused way too much on jokes. Even Ragnarok showed glimpses of that. Remember, Ragnarok had its fair share of jokes and stuff, and some really annoying characters in Valkyrie. Valkyrie is literally always a negative. I have never seen that character and said, damn, that was a fun scene with Valkyrie. No, it's just annoying 24/7. She's like, oh, I'm super self-aware. I'm so badass. It's like, you're annoying. You're annoying. You're not even a character. It's like that garbage ass She-Hulk show. I don't want to hear that fucking shit. You think I want to watch green cheeks clapping? I don't.
They really didn't do themselves any favor with that Megan Thee Stallion scene. I want to see the setup for that, so I'll be checking it out.
You know what the most disappointing thing in all Marvel movies for me has been? What they have done to the fucking Hulk.
Oh, 1,000,000,000%.
Yeah.
You remember what the real Hulk looked like? Let me show you what the real Hulk looked
like. Show me the Ed Norton one. Yes, show me the Ed Norton.
This is what the real Hulk looked like.
Come
Look at him,
on,
rippling
bro.
muscles, just mad. Dude, oh man. I remember when I saw this with my dad in theaters, bro.
Yeah.
We were checking that shit out. And I was like, I don't know. This movie's kind of weird because he was in Brazil. And I was like, I came off like, I remember seeing this one. But this was like a while ago. Right? So he's in Brazil. And I'm like, I don't know. This is kind of weird and whatever. Then homie gets irate. Homie just starts getting mad all over the place. You just see him start rippling, start tearing shit apart. He's just like, man, I can't handle it. You can't control me. Don't worry about it. You know, type shit.
Dude, I feel,
Dude, remember this scene where he ripped a car in half and he just started using his boxing gloves? Had nothing to helped no whatsoever. Like in no way did it help. It was so badass.
It was so amazing. And you know what? This movie, it does so many things right. I think the relationship between Bruce Banner and his hatred towards that transformation and then towards the end his acceptance of the monster, right? Like it's well written, right? It's well written. And mind you, this iteration of the Hulk on screen at least is the weakest by far. It's not even close, right? He's struggling against like fucking chains, right? Like he's struggling. But in terms of storytelling, I think this is the best Hulk. I mean, it's actually a very serious movie, right? Mm-hmm. Like generally Hulk movies are just kind of eye candy, right? Like you remember the early 2000 ones, it's literally just him flying around, running around, like 11 feet tall, 20 feet tall, the anger he gets, you know, which is actually a very accurate depiction of what's supposed to happen.
Really early on into the movie, like this guy's even talking about what he did as the Hulk, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I tried to unalive myself in the Antarctica," and he was like, "Yeah, the other dude spat the bullet out." So that was just set the tone pretty good. Quick.
That's straight. I like that too, and that's straight out of the comics as well. Like that's something that Bruce Banner deals with 24/7. Absolutely hates the Hulk and what he represents. So, and this movie did a great job of that. Abomination was a mid villain, but regardless, you know what I'm saying, we needed some eye candy. Hulk movie, right? So I felt like this was the best iteration we've had in terms of storytelling. Power scaling wise, obviously you have to go with the most recent MCU version just because he's clashing with fucking literal gods like Thor and stuff. But realistically, the way they're treating the Hulk, and now they introduced Sakaar in the She-Hulk show, he looks like a fucking, I don't even know what to say, John. What does he look like?
He looks like a thumb, bro.
Yeah.
This looks like a thumb, dude.
Like from Spy Kids?
Yeah, he's a thumb.
They're trying to give my boy a fade with the taper, and they also give him a pony. Like he looks, you know what he looks like? This is
exactly the same. Exactly the same. Tell me he doesn't
look
like a thumb.
Yo, that's Sakaar.
That haircut is straight up out of an old school Shaolin monk martial arts film. Look up Jet Li.
Yeah, dude, no, he's an airbender.
Look up Jet Li and Fearless, bro. Look at Jet Li and Fearless, bro. Look at my boy. Look at my boy, bro.
Oh my god,
you stole his fucking flow. You stole his drip.
Bro, that's cultural appropriation, dog.
Is it?
Yeah, some shit like that. I don't know. That's what
they really said, move my shit all the way back. God damn.
Yeah, bro. They got these people looking like that airbending avatar, the one that had that special technique.
Bro.
Oh yeah, it's also the Y.
Yo, young Jet Li would have made a perfect ang, like an adult ang.
Oh yeah.
Because think about it, like already there's a bunch of martial arts involving like in the Avatar verse. He would have made like a perfect, like, bro, if you give me a flashback in the Avatar live action, and you just have my boy, and you just have Jet Li as like Monkey Atsu or some shit, clapping firebenders left and right in Sozan's comment, how could that happen?
Oh, bro, he would have been a great Monkey Atsu.
So great.
Bro, clean as all motherfucking hell. Anyways, let's go back. What were we talking about, Marvel?
We were talking about Scar's cut.
Sakaar, oh my god. And now look at him in the comics. I think there's No, that's
Look at that! Look at that great mane of hair.
But yeah, literally, his whole thing is how wild he looks and how amazing he looks with the hair and stuff. Then you literally take away his one thing and make him look like a dollar store John Cena with fucking. God, come on, man.
Don't disrespect
Also,
John Cena like that.
in the in the MCU, they're trying to make him like a little kid too, which the little kid transforming into this just seems weird. Because I want to know if they're gonna give the kid the cut too, because he does not look like that at all. The guy that
Well,
they use.
that's also a thing in the comics, right? But like the kid just looks like a straight up kid, and he's scrawny as all hell.
No, but you can see there's like you can see this turning into this, right? Like if you just give it
Yeah,
baby steroids, this
yeah, but
turns
you
into
can't.
that.
Yeah, no, that you can't just fucking do that, bro. Like what? Like if you told me that kid turned into comic book Scar and like his hair grew out, that would make
That would
sense.
be cool. That would be fine.
Because you could kind of see it like, oh, the healing factor, it's just the advanced evolution, right? Your hair grows out, right? You're already transforming anyway. Makes sense. You shouldn't lose hair, nigga.
Yeah,
See,
I
that's
have
what he's gonna
no
evolve
idea
into.
why his fade just went that far up, which makes me believe they're gonna give this guy that fade right there, unless they
Yeah, no,
decide to just not go with it later.
they literally looked at that version of Scar and they said they ate. They said they ate with that.
Mm.
That's crazy as all hell. How you gonna say that? I mean, I haven't seen anybody that like that. And then it's like you could have an argument and be like, you know what? Why y'all hating on him? We don't even know if he's gonna be a good character. But guess what? The show was garbage, right? So if the show's garbage narratively anyway, what the fuck is there to do if not to look at these motherfuckers and judge them? Realistically speaking.
You know what I really want?
What do you want?
I want if Marvel wants to get into their Elseworld type shit, or if they just want to do
Maestro
some.
Hulk, baby.
No. Check this shit out. So you know those Hulk comics where like every time this dude turned into Hulk, it was like a horror movie scene. Like Bruce
Yeah.
Banner, his face was getting ripped off. Like he was turning into a werewolf. He was just like let me look up like gory Hulk transformation.
Yeah, I do remember. That would be amazing. I feel like Marvel. I mean, they're already trying to do some dark multiverse type stuff anyway.
This, right? So you see how the Hulk's ripping through Bruce Banner? It would be
Yeah.
so crazy if they had like a horror movies type of thing, right? With the
That would
Hulk.
be amazing. That would be amazing.
It would be a phenomenal type thing. Like you just like Bruce Banner's having like, some schizophrenia moment, like he always does, some mental illness type shit, right? And then some random ass C tier enemy comes by, only to meet this dude's hand, the Hulk's hand coming out of Bruce Banner's throat, just ready to cause everybody problems.
That's so fucking like just like the anatomy of that motherfucker is insane. But you had so many chances, and now the problem that I have with the MCU is that they're trying to mix and match different versions of comics, and they're doing it all horribly. Like Maestro Hulk, which is basically supposed to be Hulk with Bruce Banner's intellect, right? And which is actually evil. Like he's actually just an evil person. And this is one of the most broken iterations of the Hulk because he's extremely tactical. He's very smart. You know, one of the weakest parts of the Hulk generally when he's fighting is he's just Bruce, right? But this guy's like, no, he's super tactical. But even if he takes damage, he still has all the advantages of a like there are so many versions of this Hulk that are just amazing. And he's just straight up evil. Right? But the fact that now you have Hulk and he can talk as if he's Bruce Banner, but he has MCU Mark Ruffalo's version of Bruce Banner, which is actually whatever. And then like now you just see Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and it's not really just I'm over here. What am I even looking at? It just feels like a mashup of so many characters, and then you're throwing that into a mid-ass story and not actually allowing him to develop. And now it's to a point where it's like, am I gonna be excited if they announce a what if storyline with Maestro Hulk? I don't know. Depends how you're gonna do.
Get my boy Ryan Coogler in there, and maybe we'll think about it.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Like the way that things are right now, Marvel. I'm not gonna say I've lost all hope, but I was getting close after I saw the Thor movie. I saw the Doctor Strange.
Bro, the Thor movie and the Doctor Strange movie really just took the wind out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like those movies were just so aggressively bad. Doctor Strange, like you could give it like 5 out of 10. Sure, not that crazy, not that. Not
you know
horrible.
what? But you know what's crazy with the Doctor Strange is that legitimately we were arguing for 7.5 to 8 prior to that ending, because the fact that what happened with one that happened, it's just so disgusting. Just because of the way that they set it up is like, this is your reasoning for turning evil? Are you actually fucking serious? Are you mad? But Yeah, man. I just felt like that ending completely, like, really, really hurt that movie. And also, the whole, like, kind of like horror film type of aesthetic that we're going for work whatsoever. At any point were you guys scared?
No,
No, I mean it wasn't. It was just silly because anything that Doctor Strange was gonna have a problem with, he could have just done something else. Like there was a point where they were running down a hallway. My guy, you make portals. Go somewhere else.
Right. And thematically, think about it thematically, right? What does it mean? What makes a horror movie scary? It's kind of like that fear of the unknown, right? Not really knowing what you're up against, right? The fact that we know who Wanda is, we literally see her, know exactly what she's planning, or rather, I mean, it's pretty obvious what she's planning, but the fact that we basically know what to be quote fearful of is just kind of like I know exactly what I'm dealing with, right? Like the human psyche, mainly what's scary is human imagination itself, not actually knowing. That's why when like when kids were younger and they saw something like Slender Man, like they were like, "Oh shit, that's scary." Faceless, right? I don't know what the fuck I'm.
you know, I watched. I think I can't remember if I told John. I watched this movie recently called Skinamarink, right?
Skinema what?
Skinamarink.
Skinema ring.
Yeah, it's a horror movie, and like the entire time the camera's like, it's about two kids, right?
Right.
And they're in a house, and all the doors and windows disappear.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, and their parents are being weird. And the entire movie is shot from their perspective, like you're close to the ground the entire time. And half of the movie is you looking at a dark room. You're looking at the ceiling, you're looking at the corner, and you hear a voice behind you like half the time.
That's terrifying, bro.
And you never, not for one frame, do you see the monster.
That's terrifying.
And it was, I like horror movies, right? It's a big thing I enjoy.
Super unsettling, right? Like
Easily the most terrifying movie experience I've ever had.
but that's what it is, though. Like actually not knowing what the fuck you're dealing with. I mean, think about it. When
No
you were
joke.
a kid,
There was one scene. You know those little, the toy phone from Toy Story?
yeah,
That motherfucker was in the movie, and he scared me shitless.
yeah, man.
Bro, because they do that thing where, like, when you're, like, half asleep on your bed, and you see a coat, like, in the corner, and it looks like a whole-ass dude ready to run your shit?
Mhm.
Bruh, I
They
wish
did that.
motherfucker-
They did that with the little phone, and they did it in such a way where it looks like a demon in the corner ready to pounce, and then he shines the
bro.
light on it, and
Trying
you
to
see
get
it's
me-
the little toy.
Trying to give me a heart attack.
And now you know it's the little toy. He turns off the light. It looks like that. I'm still scared.
You know
Yeah,
how we
man.
fixed this Doctor Strange movie? If they look. So first off, erase this character. America Chavez did nothing in the story.
Useless.
Turn her into a magical necklace, right? Erase
Served
that.
no purpose whatsoever, except the opening portal stuff, and you could have just had that be a spell, or like John said, like a necklace or some shit.
And check this out, right? Doctor Strange does find Wanda, right? But he has no idea Wanda's on her evil shit, right? They go through
Right.
the whole movie. Shit is chasing them. Doctor Strange magic isn't working right. Things are just getting creepy. Things are getting weird. Has no idea what the fuck is going on. Last 20 to 30 minutes, Wanda perks up behind him, tries to eat him or some crazy shit. You know, some weird zombie shit, right?
Yeah.
And then she reveals, oh yeah, I've been doing all this shit, and I'm the monster, right? And then then they have their whole moment or whatever. That would have been such a better movie instead of this, because like Wanda would have been just building the tension. She would have been right behind him. Strange would have had reasons why his powers aren't working right, and things could have actually been creepy. But
Wanda was just a dick from like
The
frame one
problem-
practically.
The problem with that movie was that you could have ended it in 5 minutes, because the thing is that Wanda basically goes the entire movie being a menace, and then at the very end is like, oh, I see the error of my ways, and it's like, what? What the fuck are you even talking about? We could have had that scene 5 minutes into the movie. Happy-go-lucky Doctor Strange goes out on a cruise ship movie. Like,
I
what
will
is-
say, I did enjoy the Illuminati's like slaughter scene. That was fun. That was just fun to watch.
I
that
like
was okay, but I feel like if we got a different set of heroes, like if we swapped out this one, which was she? I forgot what it was, Captain something. And,
She was Captain Marvel, yeah.
and we swapped out Captain Britain over here, we might have gotten some like cool scenes. Like if this was I think they were thinking about the future tech Iron Man, the one with the silver suit. I forgot what it was. This one.
Mhm.
Perfect. He's right here.
yeah.
If we got this guy,
Oh, that's so cool.
and then maybe somebody else, like a godly character, maybe Namor or something like that. I don't know.
I thought
Something.
that scene.
'Cause I will say it was the most fun when she did the thing to Mr. Fantastic and the thing to Black Bolt.
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
it felt so dumb because it was like, bro, Mr. Fantastic, smartest guy ever, there for 2 seconds, gets unraveled. Do you feel me?
Not in the
No, no,
movie.
no, no. They got folded like immediately, but it was just fun visual. You know, I just enjoyed seeing
It
that
was just
happen.
eye candy, but it felt like the entirety of the rest of the movie, and I felt like it was pretty mid overall. What I liked was like the concept of it, right? Which is like introducing like a lot of what ifs into like MCU, which is I think like, something that has a lot of potential, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
like what this thing, what the DC's doing with their Elseworld thing, where they're just having like different storylines go off on their own thing. I like that because it gives like directors like, hey, I really want to make some hardcore Hawkman movie. It's not gonna stick with anything you've got, and it's perfectly fine. Or the way like they have two Constantines that are like rivaling at the moment, where there's the actual Constantine, and then we have Keanu Reeves. No disrespect, but you know.
You know what? I feel like Marvel is almost getting a little too big for their britches at that point. Because every single movie they need to be able to tie into every other movie, and the continuity, the whole thing needs to be continuous. And like, if you got this movie, you have to make sure that that actor is available to do this part. I feel like se están enredando a little bit.
I get what you're saying, and you know what? It also
You know
feels
what? They're tripping over themselves. I feel is what's kind of starting to
yeah,
happen.
and they're overcomplicating plots that are literally meant to be simple,
Hmm.
right? Like it feels like, and it's not even like the plot itself is complex as much as like how it ties into everything else seems like you said like tangled up, right? It's not a straight line continuity, or rather maybe if it is, but then they start doing shit like, well, you gotta watch the show. It's like fuck off, all right? Nobody's
Hmm.
trying to do all that shit, all right? So why are you showing me?
This is DC
Uh,
Elseworld. I don't know what you're talking about. Keep going.
uh,
Why are you stopping? Why are you making it weird, dude?
why am I making it weird? Because I'm looking at Arrow and Flash, and this is wait, hold up. Is that the actor
Yeah.
that did Danny Rand?
Danny Rand? No.
I don't know why. I looked at the beard and I imagined.
Pobrecito, traumatized. But some Elseworld shit would be cool in the Marvel setting because, like Lewis is saying, everything's getting really tied up, and it's really hard for a director to come with an original idea and be like, I have to watch 26 other movies to make sure I don't step on anybody's toes. And then, like, what Ryan Coogler did, where he, like, basically he put like a stop on anybody using Namor, so it's like, oh shit. Apparently, directors can just call dibs, you know. So when you can do that, it makes things really hard. So I think if you had like a Elseworld type of situation where it's just like, oh, I can make a movie, storyline doesn't matter, characters don't matter. And this one, the Flash is Stephen Amell, and here we're talking about Green Arrow. It's actually The Rock as Green Arrow. You feel me? Like,
Hmm.
The Rock as
go
Green.
off. You know, go do your own thing. If they wanted to go be crazy and be like, Iron Man is Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
like,
That's one thing that I always feel like the DC animated movies are doing pretty well with. Where like this is the story happening in this movie right now. Don't worry about anything else.
Agreed. I felt like, and you know what? I felt like Marvel actually handled that very well towards the beginning of the MCU because things that were connected loosely, right?
Hmm.
You saw some Black Widow in the Iron Man movie. She felt kind of like a staple, but that was later on, right? You saw different like characters interacting, and but it was loosely like you was kind of like, oh yeah, right, you were in this and this. Cool, made sense. The first Avengers movie was amazing, and it was because everything was loosely connected. Nothing felt like, bro, if you haven't watched this movie, bro, you're not even gonna care about this character. Which it felt like when you have a movie like the Avengers, where you have so many superheroes that already have their own franchises. Iron Man primarily set everything off, and you have Thor, and you have all these other. Like you gotta have a standalone movie that introduces you to these characters, and you actually care. And I feel like the first Avengers did that very well.
I never watched. I don't think I saw Thor: Dark World or anything
You missed
before.
nothing. You missed nothing.
Exactly.
it
I
did
didn't.
nothing for you.
And I don't think I saw that Hulk movie. I saw the. I didn't see that Hulk movie. I saw the one with the actor before,
Yeah,
and
no,
I
Where
didn't
he
see
was like the
Captain
size of
America.
the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. You
yeah.
know what? And now that I think about it, I think I only ever watched the Iron Man movies before I watched the Avengers movie,
Right.
and
Okay,
I didn't
that's
feel like I
fine.
missed a beat. I didn't miss a
Exactly.
beat.
But that's what was so beautiful about Phase One Marvel and the earlier phases of Marvel. That these movies standalone were really like the plot wasn't convoluted. It was
But I
like,
will. But bro, if I tried to watch Endgame, not having watched literally everything, I wouldn't know what was
yeah,
happening.
you would struggle. You would struggle. You'd
I
be
would have
like,
been confused. But to be fair, I think it's a little disingenuous to compare Avengers, like the first one, to Endgame.
I
Mhm.
agree. But
I don't
that's
think
what
that's a fair comparison.
no, and I agree with that. But what I mean though is that that is kind of like it aids my point in the sense that phase one things were loosely connected, and each movie standalone you could understand and you could relate to without having to worry about anything else. But talking about Endgame is like, bro, if you haven't watched Infinity War, you're gonna be fucking confused when you try to watch Endgame standalone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean. It felt like they get, like you said earlier, they got way too big. They're kind of high off their juice. You know what I mean? Like they're way too deep into like this whole is like everything's connected. It's like, dude, everything doesn't have to connect. And if it does, it could just be loosely. It could be a post credit. It could be something simple, right? And in terms of Avenger movie, Tobey Maguire holding MC the palm of his hand.
This is the Infinity War that you haven't seen. If you didn't watch this one, you can't understand everything else.
Is this the
But
one where Batman comes in at the end?
Christopher Nolan, Batman, yes.
You know what?
Bale Batman.
Just for a second, because we haven't talked. Bro, remember how good Logan was?
Oh yeah.
Just because we haven't talked about it in a second.
That was
You remember
actually
how
a really
that
good
was?
pull. That was a really good pull because like Logan was its own story, had nothing to do with nothing. Just a
Right.
great movie.
It's basically an Elseworld type beat, right? Because it's Old Man Logan, basically. It's an adaptation of that.
Mhm.
But it's very different to like what the MCU was doing at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's very much standalone with his completely different rated R thematic, right?
I think it was the first one. Well, no, it was Deadpool first, and then that one.
What do you mean?
Like the first rated R. I was thinking.
Oh,
give
rated
me 2
R.
seconds.
Yeah.
This movie was completely and utterly amazing. And I think a huge part of that is the fact that it was rated R and the gore and the fact that because when you think Wolverine, right, this is what you think of. Like you think of comic book Wolverine, Old Man Logan Wolverine, literally just clawing his way to the Hulk, opening his fucking stomach up and killing bitch ass.
And they kept
Right?
it fairly PG compared to what Old Man Logan gets down to.
No, yeah, he gets down to some nastiness, right? Old Man Logan gets down to some nastiness. Don't get it twisted. One of the best comic book storylines of all time. And you know what? When I
Sorry
first
about that. I
heard,
got a call.
it's okay. When I first heard that Logan was gonna be adapted, and I saw him with the, you see the, and you hear like Johnny Cash "Hurt," right? You hear the
Mhm.
song,
Oh yeah.
and you're like,
dope.
and you're like, this is amazing. But me personally, since I've read Old Man, right, and I know what that story entails, like this entire post-apocalyptic type, and like what he's dealing with from having actually killed the X-Men because he was under Mysterio's influence and stuff like it was just amazing comic. So when I saw the trailer for the, I was kind of scared. You know what I mean? I was like, are they gonna adapt this correctly? But they almost pulled a The Boys type of scenario where the comic book and the show itself are very different, but they also do their own thing really, really well, and that's what they did with. It had nothing to do with the Old Man.
I love the way they handled Xavier. I love.
Yes, Xavier was actually a really.
He was such a sad bro. I was so sad seeing Xavier.
Right.
You felt pain when you saw him because he was just an old man. Like in the other movies, you see him, right? He's like, oh yeah, I'm the telepath. I'm really cool. I got a wheelchair, but I'm clean. I'm with it.
Right.
And here he's just an old guy. He just feels really sad.
He's a bag of regrets, and I think it fits. It fits the thematic of the movie itself.
They don't talk about it too much, but like he either almost or did kill everyone in X Mansion because he had a seizure, right?
Yeah, because what happened is he said he had a seizure and his brain like basically had an earthquake in everybody's mind, and I think Logan basically was the rest of what killed the rest of the X-Men.
But I mean, think about like how amazing that interaction is, right? Like the only person that can actually like be the nanny, right, and actually take care of Xavier is the guy that can do something like that almost instantly. You know what I mean? And that same guy, like something I love about this movie so much is how they handle his healing factor. How he's literally being poisoned by the adamantium in his shit, and his healing can't keep. And he's just in so much pain, and he's completely fucked. And it's just like this is the type of movie that Marvel needs to learn how to do often.
Bro, he was getting pus out of his claw holes because it just stopped healing at some point.
Yes. And you know what? Initially, when I saw the little girl, the X22 storyline, I was kind of like iffy about. Hey, am I gonna care about this? I felt for that shit. Their relationship actually hit me hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like she was basically the only entire movie. But then, like, when it got down to it, it showed you why it was rated R. She was fucking killing people left and right. She was popping off. And this movie just does everything amazing. The acting is superb. That little girl is an amazing actress. One of the
You know what other line I loved? Just because it kind of gives you a real idea into like what Logan's headspace is at this point, right?
Yeah.
All he wants to do is get enough money to get a boat, so him and Xavier can live out by the sea. And when Xavier finally dies of old age, he can put an adamantite bullet right through his head.
But you know
what? So he doesn't have to worry anymore.
But it makes so much sense, right? And it fits like kind of
totally. It felt right. It felt like he was tired.
Yeah,
but he still felt like he was responsible for Xavier. He had to take care of him.
That's something that Wolverine as a kid, like, narratively has always had to deal with, and I'm glad that it was addressed in this movie. This man has lived 100 fucking years, and he's tired. He's seen too much death. He's killed too many people. He's done too much wrong.
He was a little bit before the Civil War, right?
I believe so.
He was in pretty much all the fucking big beats of time.
Because
I know he was in feudal Japan at one point. Then he was in World War One, and I think he might have been born somewhere in the 1400s.
It depends because you got to talk about like the story. It depends on the story because sometimes in the comics they're like, oh no, this man was like chilling like in like the 1400s, and then you look at like that garbage ass X-Men origin movie, and they tell you like, oh no, that was like in the 1780s. So I think it depends. I would go with the comic book version just because that seems to be more accurate.
Roughly around 200 years or over 200 years, it says. But yeah, homie's going through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the movie itself, like, we love this movie so much now. And you know what's crazy? I watched it since it came out in 2017. We have not watched it since. And when we watched it ever since, this movie has left us a huge impression on me that I literally, like, this is my favorite movie of all time, bar none. I literally, every single time we rate a movie, we're like, okay, it's the regular scale, and then there's the Logan scale. You know what I mean? So I feel like this movie just did everything right. This is literally, in my opinion, the best. I don't even want to call it a superhero movie because it's really not that. But I'll say like a comic book movie or a comic book inspired movie. This is the best one I think I've ever seen.
I feel like that's how you should make movies like this, or at least if it works for like characters that are dark and gritty like this, right? Like Batman, Joker, or Wolverine.
I mean, this is how they were doing movies for a long time. It was just a one-off thing, maybe a sequel.
I don't mean a one-off thing. I don't mean like a one-off thing or like interconnected universes. I mean like this is the character, and then he also happens to do this, right? Because when we look at Thor: Love and Thunder, it's like Thor, he's a god, he's this, he's that, he's that, and you know he's also sometimes he gets sad, and it's like wait, what? Like we're not looking at anything important from this character. We're not getting any sort of growth. It's just he's got a hammer. We're gonna smash things, enjoy it, and it's not even enjoyable at that point, you know?
Right.
This feels a little bit like. Almost like what's it called? Like Marvel had a head start to what DC was doing with Joker and Batman,
right?
But they just never did it again.
Yeah,
which is really unfortunate.
Because this movie was like everyone loved this movie. This one was like also really well received, right? Like I'm not going crazy.
Yeah, it was super well received.
It was, but the problem with this movie was that it didn't fit what Marvel was doing.
Well, also this wasn't. I know you're gonna hate this, but this isn't Marvel canon. This was Fox Marvel.
Yeah, suck a penis, right? So
hey man, that's what it is. What it is. They were doing that, and then they went on to make their shitty horror movie X-Men.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. Wow. I'm not having this. I'm not having this conversation. I'm not having this conversation with you. Realistically, though, like it's rare to see these type of movies, but I feel like Marvel could definitely benefit from these type of movies more often, especially now, because let's be honest, Love and Thunder literally felt like an insult to your intelligence. It treated you like a toddler the entire movie, and I felt like that was just so fucking. Movies should uplift you in a sense, and they should actually you should take something away from, right? You learned a lot about Logan's character, a lot about his pain, right? You learned a lot about, by the way, side characters in this movie, all amazing side characters. Even the villain, which was basically not even a villain. Like, it was just kind of like, yeah, he's a bad guy, but the main plot being obviously like Logan's storyline. Like, the villain is forgettable in a sense, but But just seeing Logan fight his clone, like that was so fucking poetic. Just watching him fight like a younger version of himself that doesn't have to deal with all the bullshit that old Logan has to deal with. But then him being able to outsmart him just because younger Logan is just brute force, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was just amazing. Overall, it was just amazing. And I mean,
And when he went rage mode in the forest,
yeah, bro, the forest scene where you see the little kids running, you see the little black kid. Like, that shit was so funny. That's what I love about like dark movies where they have like literally one or two comedy scenes, but they're so perfectly placed that they're just guaranteed to be hilarious.
Mhm.
But yeah, literally, I have to rewatch this movie just because it's been so long. It was absolutely amazing, and it feels like a very long time ago. It's only 2017.
Still, it's a fairly long time ago, to be fair.
It is a fairly long time ago. But if you just looking at these, if you look at just like
How many movies have
stills,
come out after it?
right, but also like stills of the, it almost feels like, oh wow, yeah, I remember watching this in 20.
it feels like we
20.
watched this yesterday.
Oh no, I have a completely different feeling. I feel like I watched that in 2010, bro.
No, bro. Like I feel like parts of that movie are just so like
Oh no,
vivid in my mind.
No, true. I remember everything, basically almost everything about the movie, but it feels like it was such a long time ago that I just want to watch it and keep. This movie was amazing. I mean, literally. What? I mean, you definitely gotta rewatch this movie. And you know what? Like nothing to do with the other one, the one where he,
The one with what?
the one where he went to Japan. That shit was.
Oh yeah, that shit was mid as fuck.
That shit was mid. So that just shows you like you need a good fucking, you need a creative and good director and writer. Because like Hugh Jackman knocks it out of the park in terms of acting, so you know he has the ability, right? And in previous movies, I would argue that it almost felt like he was hurt. I mean, not almost. He was definitely hurt by the script. Like it's like literally, I'm like, look at this goofy fucker right now, right?
Mhm.
But
Let's see how it looks like in Deadpool 3 because apparently he's coming back for that.
oh, that's right, he's coming back for Deadpool. God damn, he was jacked out of his sock.
Oh, jacked out of his sock.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Yeah,
too
he
much
couldn't
more
fit in his
Place.
socks anymore. He was so jacked.
I've been watching too much more Place for.
But yeah, man, Marvel's got to make a movie like this because whether you want to believe it or not,
See,
they have no movies under their belt like that. Fox made that, and that's pretty much it.
yeah,
One of
Like,
Fox's last movies too, right?
huh?
That was one of Fox's last like Marvel movies, right?
No, they had a few after that. They
Did
had
they?
I think they had Dark Phoenix, and then they had one that they were cooking up. The
Yeah.
New
So like I
Mutants.
said, it was the last one, right?
Last good one.
which one? What are you talking about?
The Logan movie was the last good movie that Fox made. No, yeah, they had Dark Phoenix, and then they had New Mutants, which was supposed to be their horror movie that they almost just deleted, but they threw it out because why not?
There's always
Wasn't
been
that a show?
No, that's a movie.
which
That's a
one?
movie?
What, the Dark Phoenix movie?
Yeah.
No.
The
New Mutants.
Oh
That's a. I thought that was a show this whole
no,
time.
that was actually supposed to.
Say that again. You cut out.
That was actually supposed to be a horror movie.
Yeah,
That
no,
was-
it was a horror movie. Horrible movie.
No. Horrific. But
Bro, it
Because
flew so severely under my radar.
yeah,
No,
that's,
yeah.
that's what Marvel intended.
I remember watching like 2 or 3 trailers and then never actually watching the movie just because it was so bad.
I never even saw a trailer for the movie.
That's because Marvel. This movie was basically being made while Marvel was purchasing Fox. So when that was going through, they purchased Fox, and then they were like, "And let's throw this away." But then they were like, "Wait, but let's throw it out just to see what happens." Eventually, they threw it out. But this
Oh.
was supposed to come out in like, I think, 2019, alongside with Dark Phoenix.
Talking about mid Marvel movies, the Eternals. The
Mid?
Eternals.
It
That was
makes
an-
mid. It reaches mid.
Oh, I mean, did we think it was that horrific?
Dude, this
I
movie
I
was
really didn't like, bro.
garbage.
I could have slept through that movie.
Bro,
It
let me
was
tell you how
so
many
bad.
characters mattered in this movie. None.
None. None.
I with
None.
this one only stood there for a second because it was funny to look at him get beat up when he wasn't using his lasers. This one was a cook, and that was it.
I just like watching Angelina Jolie. Okay. that
No,
was
The speed blitz scene was good.
the
that-
girl, right? The girl. That scene was but
the
that
girl, because that felt like someone who knew how to speed blitz.
right? It felt like that, but it also felt like the good scene in that.
Yeah, no. I'm not arguing.
I also didn't mind the mind control guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was all right.
You know what else I want to say? As much as we were like complaining about like how Marvel's getting a little bit too big with their britches about like connecting everything,
Yeah.
the Eternals literally had like a celestial pop into the atmosphere, and there's also one that rose from the ground, and no one's talked about that.
Yeah.
I think in the Ant-Man movie they're about to talk about it, but yeah.
You know what? I feel like they should have talked about it earlier.
But
I don't think Ant-Man should be like the front runner of that information.
It's
You know
the
what?
way that they're doing the timeline. I think the other movies like Spider-Man: No Way Home came before this.
Right. I was about to say I think the Eternal is actually further along just because of like the gravity of fucking having a whole ass celestial, basically, as
Mhm.
fucking the Earth.
Mhm.
But
I guess, but I don't know. I just feel like it should be addressed. I know it will be.
You know how
But, like,
hilarious it would have been if this happened, right? And then all anybody wanted to talk about was who the fuck Peter Parker is. No. Some crazy living being was about to erupt from the earth. But did you hear this nigga? This dude Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Like that was all over the news. There's no way that Peter was that important.
now that we've reached this point, I mean, since basically we're deep into the Marvel DC rabbit hole, can we talk about how amazing that Spider?
Say that again?
Because can we talk about how amazing that Spider-Man movie?
That was really good. Really
That
good. They hit that
Spider-Man
one out of the
movie-
park.
I was worried. I was worried when they were first talking about it.
Let me establish a few things, right? It's just so you guys can have some prior knowledge. John and I are always, and I mean quite literally always, debating about whether Tom Holland is a good Spider-Man or not. I personally believe he is. John, for a while, was like, this guy's mid. He's too bare bones. He doesn't have any personality. And I'm over here like, all right, whatever. But once this movie came out, they basically fleshed out his character because you gotta agree that compared to the other two Spider-Mans, his journey, well, it also has to do with the fact that he's much younger, or at least much younger than Tobey Maguire's version, which was in college, right? And when you deal with Tom Holland's version, you're looking at baby Spider-Man. You literally see his very...
Look, that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with his baby Spider-Man. But the thing is, right, Tobey Maguire is getting his ass kicked and having problems, and he's getting sad
Tobey
about it.
Maguire is 50!
Yes, okay, but hold on. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Peter, bro, he was going so far through it. Now imagine, right? We minus his age by 2 years. You're telling me that Tom Holland is gonna take this so much better? He's just like, I'm Spider-Man, whatever. I do a backflip every now and then.
It's also a different story, though.
It's a different story. But I feel like if you're getting your ass kicked by some adult supervillain, this dude's gonna cry and like get emotional once or twice. But he had Daddy Iron Man to go and save his life every time. Or
You know what?
What?
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Iron Man definitely did save his ass a bunch of times. But this is what I'm trying to get to, right? His development, like, because he's baby Spider-Man, it took a few months, and mind you, some people are gonna hate on it and be like, wow, it took months. But at the same time, it's like I like the slow, right? I like the slow development. I like the fine wine.
Slow development is fine.
Because
Perfectly fine.
But
However,
I think it fits this version because you got to consider no other version had Tony Stark as a fucking, right? No other version had
that's
access.
because he shouldn't. That's because he really shouldn't.
No, but you know what? I have an argument entirely against that, and it's that I'm fucking bored of seeing the same Spider-Man movie every single time they fucking do a Spider-Man movie. You got to give me this garbage ass it's garbage. Let me stop. But
you gotta have to be garbage. Just have him fight somebody creative. Literally that.
Fuck off. Listen, here's the thing. You can't be giving me this fucking same movie over, and here's Doc Ock. Oh, here's the Green Goblin. I'm tired of that shit. I'm fucking tired. The way they set it up in the MCU is a breath of fucking fresh air. We actually see fucking Spider-Man villains that we never even fucking touched before.
That would have been perfectly fine. That's fine. I'm not saying that we gotta go fight Doc Ock or we gotta fight the Green Goblin, right? You wanna fight Vulture? That's fine. Go fight Vulture. Do that without Iron Man. Just X that out, right? Struggle.
But
I want him to get his ass kicked. No, listen.
His struggle just came later on.
Hold up. I want him to get his ass kicked. I want him to be going home, sewing holes from his suit, thinking about how bad some dude in a bird costume beat his ass.
Okay.
Because that's character development.
But my question to you, but this is character development, because my question to you is, if you saw that movie we saw recently, like the latest Spider-Man, if you saw it first, would you have preferred that?
No,
I don't think so.
no, I'm
Right,
not telling you no, but that's
of
because
course
it's like
not.
at the third
But
of the
of course
trilogy,
not.
right?
But,
There's
but
build
of
up to
course
it.
not.
That's fine.
Right.
But what I'm
But
telling you, No Way Home came around where? Or Homecoming was around like what?
2015.
2015?
Nah, that's
Bro.
way too deep. That's way
I'm
too
not.
deep.
It was not
It might,
before Logan, was it?
No, because I remember we were already it's 2017.
2017. Okay, I'm tripping. Okay.
2017, right? Then he goes through all of these little adventures that he's going through. Where he was in what other movies was this dude in? Right? He was in Civil War first. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
That's
Civil
where we
War
come in.
first. Correct.
We come in.
Correct.
We get to Homecoming.
He's 6 months in Civil War, I believe.
6 months
Maybe
in.
less. Maybe less. Maybe less.
Also, he was way cooler before he met Tony too. He was catching buses and stuff, just all casual and shit. Because that's how Tony found him. People were posting videos of him on YouTube where he was just catching buses,
But that
swinging
makes
through,
sense.
saving people.
Think about that. The fact that he's so green with his powers makes sense as to why he has better strength feats in a sense. Because Spider-Man has always been known to be that character that's always holding for the sake of. So if he's so deep, it's like, oh, it's a bus. Oh, it's a building. We catch those, you know.
That's
But
cool.
here's the thing. Right? His struggle came movie, and if in the third movie his struggle wasn't what it was because you felt that struggle.
No,
The
yeah, that
moment
struggle was tough. That was tough.
if his struggle wasn't what it was in the third movie, losing, spoilers, losing Aunt May,
Bro, we've already
losing
given 50 spoilers to 30 different movies.
I don't give a fuck.
At this point.
I mean, it is what it is. You know, crybabies, right? But losing Aunt May, losing his love interest, losing his best friend, basically, losing everybody, right? Absolutely everybody and everything. That level of struggle hit you so much harder because you knew he hadn't reached that level yet. Because in the other movies, the death of Uncle Ben, right? The main plot points in Spider-Man movies, you could tell it hit those Spider-Man way harder than it hit the Tom Holland version, right? Because it felt with him, he was so much of a kid, he almost didn't have enough time to really like he didn't even have time to fucking fathom any of that. So when they hit you with the Uno reverse card and they pull out the Aunt May being the catalyst, then you're like, oh
no, but I feel like it should hit him harder if he's a kid, dude. I feel like it should genuinely hit him harder if he's younger. Because
no,
it's like
but keep in mind, at least in the Tobey Maguire movie, at least in that movie, you actually meet Uncle Ben and you actually see him as like he's such a loving.
And that's another thing that I think they got super wrong. The fact that we didn't see anything of Uncle Ben. We saw initials, and that was all we've ever seen of Uncle Ben.
My bro. Here's the thing, right? Check this out. I'm tired of saying Uncle Ben every 2 seconds.
Listen, let me tell you.
Check this out. No,
I have a
let me
fix
tell
for
you.
everything. No, let me tell you, because you think we have to go get back to the alley and see Uncle Ben get shot. No,
I'm
you know
done.
what would have been perfect? You know what would have been
I'm
perfect?
done.
If we
I'm
see
done
Peter
seeing
have
Obi talk my crush by
flashbacks.
that.
Look, if we see Peter have flashbacks to when Uncle Ben was like raising him, like, oh, this is how you do this, or when Peter got beat up by as a kid because he was bullied a lot, like when he loses a fight, he flashbacks to what Uncle Ben would have told him, you know, like giving him advice and stuff. That would have been cool. You don't have to go with the whole, oh, this dude got shot. Just maybe at the end, if anything, when he's remembering Uncle Ben, he closes his eyes and then all you hear is a gunshot. You don't have to see shit. Just throw this character. It's integral for
But
Spider-Man.
he has Daddy Stark for that. Why do you know he has Daddy Stark for all?
This is why I don't like Stark. Because also in the comics, if anybody reads Spider-Man comics, he literally hates Iron Man. Doesn't like him for shit.
Okay, but check this out, right? Here's my thing, right? It's like you're thinking about it from a very origins standpoint, right? Things that are very much like set in stone in the Spider-Man verse. And my thing is, this is a completely different continuity, and it's a completely different story, right? Uncle Ben's death, I will agree, you could have given me a 2-minute snippet. All right, I'll give you that. I don't need like constant reminders. But then you also gotta take into account, like, homie basically had no time to, and then also take into account, then you have Iron Man coming into his life 5 months in, and because of that, now he has a completely new father figure, a new mentor, right? So that kind of offsets the pain a little bit. But then when you get to the third movie, right, by the time you get there, you're already kind of seeing him struggle in the second movie, like shades of the struggle. But then when you do get to that third movie and you actually see him, oh no, this is it. This is his origin. Like the first and second movie are basically what Vinland Saga season 1 is to the Vinland Saga story. It's not even, it's a fucking prequel, my nigga. It's not even like the actual story. That's not where it starts. I take the first and second Spider-Man movies as kind of like year one, year two type beat, and then I feel like the third movie is literally what we're looking at is literally his actual origin story. His third movie, and it hits you super fucking hard. And I feel like it's very well developed in the sense that you're taking a completely different approach, right? Okay, sure, you feel like that Uncle Ben should have been mentioned more, but I feel like they already had it pre-planned that the focus was going to be Aunt May's death because Aunt May is developed from movie 1, 2, and 3. She plays that. I mean, she's always played that character, like that mother and father figure for Peter post Uncle Ben, but even more so in these movies, you feel Peter's reliance on Aunt May even more so than in the Tobey Maguire movies and in the Andrew Garfield movies. You just feel it, right?
Mhm.
So when she does die, I feel like it hits even more so than the way that Uncle Ben hits, even in the origin stories. Because think about Uncle Ben, generally speaking, you're gonna see Uncle Ben either in a flashback or you're gonna see him at the very beginning of the movie for a few frames or like a few scenes, and then he's out of there. So you kind of feel for Peter, but you don't feel for Uncle Ben as much as you do Peter. I feel bad for May. She's leaving behind this whole ass teenager. He's dealing with so much.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And then you see how that, because that destroys this motherfucker's world. I actually prefer the way that they did this to some of the on-screen origin story ways that they did the Spider-Man movies. Sure, there was a lot to deal with all in one, but just the way that they handled it, I think is beautiful. I think they handled I think they knocked the shit out of the park.
That's fine. Like the way that the third movie comes in, to the culmination of everything, perfectly fine, very good. It's just that I feel like you don't need to go through all like you don't have to go through 5 different movies with that. 3 are his own, and then like 3 other
You know
cameos are
what?
from him being in other movies.
I'll say this. You could have, and mind you, I don't think it was a bad movie. But if for the sake of getting to like the feel good kind of like character development moment, you could have gotten rid of the first movie. The villain was mid. The villain was mid as hell, right? It was mainly just kind of like, oh, new Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the stakes weren't that high, right? Second movie, the stakes felt pretty high because of the ending, right?
Mhm.
At the very when he reveals, and then you could have easily had the second movie be the first and the third movie be the second, and then have the third movie be how Peter basically deals with being emo now, right? because man's life is ruined.
And
So
now he gets the Venom symbiote, and then we get that
so
part of the movie.
so I'll give you that you could have basically skipped over the first movie, even though, mind you, it wasn't like bad by any sense. I give you that you could have skipped over it in terms of just like importance in the Spider-Man verse. You could have had like certain details that are really important in the first movie, like relationship with Tony, just separate things in Peter's
His
life.
relationship with Tony is a pretty big part of that first movie, like setting up how much he relies on him.
Right, right, and then in the
That's pretty important for like this Peter's character arc going forward.
right, and then it's like because when you really think about it, no version of Peter Parker in the movie verse has suffered as much as Colin's version.
In the
He lost
universe,
all,
no.
no, he's like obviously I'm not gonna go into comics because you
No,
already
no,
know.
because if I was, I would pull the
Obscure comic, Spider-Man comic number 5. And I'm like, okay,
Number
whatever.
5 only printed 3 issues, but trust me, I checked it out.
No, of course. I'm not even gonna go there. But I mean, think about it. Lost literally everything. Lost MJ, lost Uncle Ben, lost Aunt May, lost
And
Tony,
Ned.
lost everybody,
No,
bro.
yeah, now in the third movie, like
But yeah, but you
his
gotta take it out into
story.
account, bro. Like,
No, hold on. I'm not finished. His story, he's gonna be goated next time we see him, bro. Cause Toby
he's
just
still
has
golden
nothing
now.
but fire under him, bro.
He's still golden now,
He's
though.
huh?
He's golden now.
Now he's goaded. Now he's goaded.
He's golden
But
now.
I can't. But it's get like the other ones, right? The other ones, like specifically, what's the other guy? Andrew Garfield, right? The fact that we've seen scenes where he's gotten shot, stabbed, or anything, and then he's just there sewing his shit, or he's like fucked up. He literally came home with a black eye, all beat up, bruises all over him, and he just has to deal with that. He has to hold that. Meanwhile, this guy, for the first 2 movies, doesn't really have any problems. He's living his best life. Literally, second movie, what happened? They revealed my identity. Who cares? I'm Spider-Man now. You know, there's no repercussions to that.
Okay.
First movie, he did struggle with a bit with Vulture, right? Because he was
Right.
having a lot. He was still coping with all the stuff that happened to Uncle Ben, and he was like, "I'm not really a superhero. I'm not really Spider Man." And he's
Right.
acting out towards Tony. Perfectly fine. I personally, what I would have done is I would have sprinkled in some flashbacks of Uncle Ben teaching him some stuff, just so that like we could give that connection a little bit more, a little bit more concrete. Where he like maybe Tony tells him something, and then he flashbacks to Uncle Ben, and he's like, "Damn, Tony, Uncle Ben also says some shit like that." You know, maybe I'd put that in for just so it could be a bit more concrete. He did struggle a bit in the first one, but it's like, hey, you struggled, I slapped you on the ass, and then it's not that big a deal. Second one, we revealed your secret identity. Who cares? Third one, we take away everything, and now you get to be a cool character. You feel me?
Here's,
It
here's the
takes
thing.
a while.
You know what I wanna see? I want to see the movie that that Andrew Garfield kept talking about during the movie.
Yeah, the one where he's killing people. That one.
Oh, that's what I want to see.
exactly
That
what-
would be a nice Spider-Man. That would be a cool ass movie, dude.
Dude,
Bro, because Andrew was talking about like after I lost Gwen, I
Yeah.
stopped pulling my punches.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was going.
She started going hard.
Because it's heavily implied that he might have killed the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
No, I'm getting
and
the
like
vibe.
we haven't seen it, but in the Morbius movie, there's like there's a
It's
little
Morbid
Easter
time.
egg, huh?
It's Morbid time.
It's Morbid time. In
Oh
the
no, you're gonna
Morbius
morb
movie,
all over him.
there's newspapers and like spray painting, like graffiti and shit, calling Spider-Man a murderer, right? So it's like hard implied that Andrew Garfield did some fuck shit. This dude punched some guy through his mouth.
Yo, but imagine how amazing. Like, since we're doing the what ifs anyway, dude, hit me with the what if when we go back to Andrew. You, but there's people.
You're cutting off a bit. Can you repeat the entire idea?
Yeah. So since we're doing the what ifs anyway, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some what ifs where we go back to Andrew Garfield, bring him back, but he comes back from the No Way Home, and then you realize that he's actually just evil.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he came. He was just
right,
pretending to
right.
be. He was like, "Oh man,
Right.
fuck those guys, dude."
He didn't want.
Didn't
he
learn
didn't
shit.
He didn't. No. He didn't want Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man to turn out like he was. But when he got back, he just went back to killing more.
he comes back. He's like, "Oh shit, man, that was great. Thank God we did that shit for the
Everybody
little
could
kid."
get it.
Now everybody gon' give fuck. Gets a phone call, Mr. Spider-Man. We have your coffee ready. Fuck it, nigga. I need blood. What?
Bro, how metal would that shit be?
That'd be pretty.
That would
fucking
be
dope.
really. That would be a really hard take. That would be really cool.
Bro, I'm telling you.
I think what they could do that would be really cool is if they have that storyline where Peter Parker basically he gets cloned, right? So this is where we get more fuck shit, right? So Peter Parker gets cloned, and then you have Scarlet Spider, which is Ben Parker, and then you have Kane. Spider-Man if he was a murdering machine, and he has a cape, but he's just a murdering machine. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't use webs. He just has spikes come out of his like arms like Wolverine, and he just starts fucking everybody up. Ben, the Scarlet Spider, he's kind of like Peter, and him and Peter don't know who's who, right? But Ben gets moody and just fights Peter all the time. He's just boxing constantly. Sometimes he saves people, but people will say something and he just has anger, so he's just fucking people up, right? And then we have Andrew Garfield Peter, who doesn't give a fuck anyway, so he's just killing people. It would be a great movie. Phenomenal.
It would be. That sounds pretty good. But honestly.
Oh, did you hear Nicolas Cage isn't coming back for the next Miles Morales movie?
Oh, he's not? Spider-Man Noir?
Nope.
I wanted to bring up that movie because
It's goated.
No, I mean obviously Into the Spider-Verse was amazing, but I'm talking about the one that's coming out because I wanted to ask you guys how you felt about them going so extreme with literally every they're basically putting the first movie on steroids. Do you guys think it'll affect the movie somewhat to have so many?
Usually I'd say yes, and I come in with a little bit more skepticism. But they handled having a lot of Spider-Man in the first movie, and obviously they're gonna have like way more in the second one.
Right.
But I feel like they balanced everyone because the other Spider-Men were other than Gwen Stacy, they were all like giga side characters,
Correct.
And they handled them well. I don't think adding more will be a problem because the main characters are gonna be Gwen, Miles, and then Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, you know what? I want to give him the credit just because the first movie was so amazing. This movie changed animation in Western cinema, like overall. Like there are so many movies that like take the animation aspect of this movie and just kind of like try to.
The Puss in Boots movie has like
Yes,
this kind of
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah, they had
very
that kind of
similar.
like weird.
Very similar.
frame
It's kind of like
perspective type thing.
it's 3D mixed with like some 2D, not even anime style, right? But like 2D, but it's almost like picturesque. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
see the frames of it, and then it's mixed in with really fluid frames some other times, and it makes it authentic. I really
It
like
does.
it.
I
So
also I'm a little bit more hopeful for it just because they said that they were gonna make it like the second and third part they were gonna make it a part 1 and a part 2, so that gives them a little bit more room to work with. You feel me?
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was gonna be a part one.
Me
And part two.
neither.
No, yeah, it's a part 1, part 2 type beat. It's
Again,
not an
I
enclosed
don't mind
story.
that. I don't mind that if they pace themselves right, because
Mhm.
as long I feel it's a good thing when writers know there's something else immediately after what they're done with, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Because then they're not in that headspace like I need to wrap things up right now because I don't know if I'm gonna have a chance to wrap it up later.
right. I had some faith in it because obviously the first movie was such a banger, right? I mean, literally, I think we rated it, but it was such an amazing movie that I wanted to give. I'm always gonna give the second movie the benefit of the doubt just because the first one was so good. But now that you tell me the part 1 and part 2, that actually makes me even more. It makes me even more happy to like just know that hey, that whole pacing issue, we got time to pace ourselves. It's so easy.
Because you know that's basically telling the writer pretend like you have a 4-hour movie right now.
Right, because it's so easy to mess up the pacing of movies with so many characters and make those side characters feel like they matter. Right?
Yeah.
When you have so many of them, it's like, why should I? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, so I think if you make it that long of a movie, pacing, you can probably pace yourself better. But at the same time, then you have the pacing issue of does this feel dragged out? Right? So I don't know. I'm very excited to see how they're gonna. I'm very excited to see that, and I'm very excited to see how prevalent the main villain or villains are gonna be, because a 4-hour movie is a 4-hour movie. I mean, overall.
I will be honest. I get the vibe that like the villain's gonna switch at some point, either before the second movie or during the second movie.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I don't think it's gonna be 2099 Spider-Man the entire time.
Well, the way that the trailers are making it look like is like it looks like Miles Morales is doing something wrong because every other Spider-Man is after him. You feel me?
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like the first movie 2099 is gonna be like an agent,
Right.
like an unknowing agent of the overarching villain.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then that overarching villain will be revealed either towards the end of the first movie or at the beginning / midpoint of the second movie.
I feel like something that
It's Polka Dot Man the entire time.
It's
Oh my
Polka Dot
god.
goodness gracious. Can you imagine it's just some garbage ass Spider-Man villain actually? But what I really like about the Into the Spider-Verse, like just like the whole continuity they got going on, is they're introducing villains that you normally Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man comic.
Yeah, like bro, when was the last time you heard about Polka Dot Man or Black Spot or whatever the hell they call him? Like nobody ever talks about that guy. But if you frame him properly, he could really be an issue. You feel me?
I mean, that guy's bro. Every time you try and punch him, black dot. Where that punch go? Your face.
Literally, if you put him down on paper, it's like this guy has the ability to put a dot on something, and it instantly he's able to travel like through a dimension to go to the other end of a dot. Like that's pretty tight. That's pretty good because
Yeah.
he can make it. He can make it some Looney Tunes type shit where he just like if there's a hole in a wall and now I can walk through this wall. Right now there's a door, or I just put this in the middle of the air and now you just like when you go into it, you're gone. You're in the mirror
You
dimension or some
despawn.
shit.
Yeah, that's actually really cool, honestly. So I'm very excited to see the type of, because they're very creative with their villains. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Like their villains aren't overly complex. Like in the first movie, sure, Kingpin was kind of a villain, but realistically, what you're dealing with is Miles dealing with being a Spider-Man and the mantle itself. That's the main kind of like.
I love
flaw.
how they made Kingpin the whitest creature on planet Earth, and no one addressed it.
He's a fridge. He's a fucking fridge, and that's okay. He
Bro,
should be a fucking heavy duty fridge.
I also love the crazy like liberties that they just took with some characters for Miles thing. Like Scorpion's just hardcore Hispanic the entire time. Green Goblin's the size of a mansion, and
I like it.
it was crazy.
Also, something they don't need. It gets glossed over a little bit. Kingpin beat Spider-Man to death in the first like 10 minutes of the movie.
He beat a little kid, but yeah, go on.
No. I mean,
no. He beat
no.
the
I
actual
mean,
Spider-Man.
I
He
mean,
killed him.
Miles is Spider-Man.
killed him.
After you pepper him up a little bit, sure.
He killed Peter.
After you pepper him up a
He
little bit,
he
sure.
slammed them to
No,
the ground.
bro.
I could give
bro.
him problems, to be honest.
No, bro. He killed Peter, dude.
I'd give him the business.
He mollywopped
Catch him
them,
all
bro.
fresh. I'll give him the ones.
I'm just glad Kingpin's getting some credit. You ain't giving. First of all, you're giving Kingpin zero problems whatsoever.
I don't know
Let's
what you're
start.
talking about, dude. That guy
You're-
is first
you
and
are
foremost.
giving
I was talking
Kingpin
about
zero
bitch ass Spider-Man, but Kingpin.
Bro, that
You know which Kingpin you might give problems to? The Daredevil versus Kingpin from the
I give
TV
all
show.
the Kingpins
Maybe.
problems. I give
No.
all the
no,
Kingpins.
no,
You're not
but
giving Fritz Kingpin any
I'm giving
problems.
Fritz
bro.
no, but John gives him problems. The Daredevil one, unless he's near a car door. If
The
he's near a
only-
car door,
the-
game over immediately.
Oh yeah, dude, get out of there. Get out of there with the Kingpin. Bro, the only way you're the only problem,
I'm not giving this guy. You tell me I'm not giving this guy problems, bro. Let's be honest, bro.
the only that Kingpin, the only problem you're giving that motherfucker is how he's gonna wipe the stain that you're gonna leave on his suit.
Bro, I'm giving
That's
this
the
guy
only
problems
problem.
so quickly,
That is a
dude.
crazy
I'm leg
cosplay. What in the
sweeping.
hell?
I'm leg sweeping this guy so fast.
You're first of all, that's such an unlikely pairing. The girl from Finding Nemo and Kingpin.
Yeah. Phenomenal costume. But yeah, no, I give this guy so many problems, right? With a car door or without a car door.
You're not
Hey,
giving Kingpin any
Hey,
problem.
click that picture like on the far left.
The only way you give that Kingpin
This
problems is
No, on the far right of the picture under the big guy.
Oh, this
Yeah.
one.
I just like that picture. It's fun.
the
I give him
only
so
way.
many problems. Glass chin ass.
The only way you give him problems is if you just pop him.
If he what?
The only way you give him problems is if you have a needle so you can pop him.
Nah, I don't need no
About from that,
straight hands.
about hands? Are you out of your mind?
Straight hands.
First of
Bro,
all,
He's an expert sharpshooter too. Look at that.
you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? This is what's goofy about comic books. In the comic books, they say he's made out of like 99% muscle,
He's made out of what?
99% muscle.
Yeah.
No body fat to be seen, bro.
But if you
Yeah,
look
but-
if you look at some of the comic book ones, like the first one you clicked on, that looks like a heavily fat, like the one with the suit. No, not that, bro. Please, what are you doing? No, get out of
Because
there.
I was looking for the other one because I was going through other ones here.
But the one where you're looking over there, where he's like about to crush skinny Spider-Man. No,
Damn, I lost it. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, that's the one. Like he looks like, I mean, just look at his forearms. Like, what?
Spider-Man's a 13-year-old boy here.
Bro,
Check this guy out.
No, but his bare hand is as big as Spider-Man's torso.
John versus Kingpin, who wins, bro? That's the next poll.
Mm.
There's zero chance you take out Kingpin.
Me,
Now,
you
mind
don't
you,
know my feet, trust me.
John's fairly muscled. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at like a 4-plate deadlift at the very least. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at like
Like,
6'1", fairly athletic. You know what I mean? You know, we're you know what I'm saying? John got feats about him. You know, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. John got some feats. Kingpin would mollywop this homie so bad. Like it wouldn't even be close. I mean, I feel like that finger that he's pointing at Spider-Man with would take your ass out.
Hold on.
Oh, you're gonna find me the Kingpin that everybody knows and loves? What are we doing now?
Look at how Spider-Man's giving this guy the hands. You told me I can't beat this guy like that, dude.
Oh, I didn't know you were black suit symbiote Spider-Man. Homie.
Yeah. You didn't
That's
know?
you? That's you?
That's me. Same level. Mhm.
Well, here's how I thought: Kingpin, pick one, right, versus fucking what's his name, Biscuit Oliveira from Baki.
Oh, Biscuit Oliver, Kingpin.
Yeah, just for the fun of it, just because there's just so units. They're units of people.
Kingpin because better feats. Like he's just fought stronger people overall. Although Biscuit definitely claps him in a bodybuilding.
Check this out.
No, in a bodybuilding contest, bro. Who beats Biscuit?
The thing about Kingpin is that his feats are like with every comic book character that knocked out by Daredevil, but also fuck up Spider. Literally, at least 80 billion times stronger.
Bro, Spider-Man's fighting him without even the black suit. Come on, I'll take him out.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, you know what? You convinced me, John.
Thank you.
The greatest of these. And with that being said, John takes out King podcast here. Goodbye.
You know it. Ciao, everyone.
Goodbye.
Ciao, real slow.